That day I was sitting with my friends in the apartment. We'd spent the night relaxing, and although I wasn't a fan of strong drinks, I decided to keep up with the company and join in the mood. It was about 7 or 8 in the morning when I got a call from my sister. Her hysterical voice, accompanied by tears, came over the phone, and she informed me that my brother had hanged himself in the bathroom. I felt shocked, my thoughts at a loss, and I barely understood anything, but managed only to reply that I would return home immediately. I stormed out of the apartment, struggled to catch a cab, and headed home. My thoughts were in complete chaos, and my head was still spinning from the aftermath of the night's fun. When I arrived home, I found everyone was in shock. My mom was crying. I headed to the bathroom, and there I saw my brother hanging from his belt. My emotional state was at zero because of the shock. I couldn't cry, but my inner pain was burning inside. A short while later, we started preparing for the funeral. Suddenly, my older brother said, "I told you yesterday that I was followed by a guy in black." These words made me shiver and afraid, and I began to ask him about the incident. Here is what he told me. It was around midnight. I was in the city center and was about to walk home to get into a cab. All of a sudden, some guy jumped out of nowhere and climbed into the back seat. I looked back and saw a guy in black clothes looking at me too. I thought maybe it was a friend of the cab driver and didn't pay attention. On the way home, when I got out of the car to walk, I turned around and saw this guy in black following me. I checked several times and he was still following me. When I got to the house, he stopped and stayed 20 meters away. I asked him what he wanted, or if he was looking for someone, but he was silent. Then I went into the house, ate, and went outside to smoke. I saw him sitting next to the fence. I asked him who he was waiting for and what he needed, but he continued to remain silent and only smiled. I suggested he come inside and talk, but he didn't move. Later, I told everyone in the house that this guy was sitting in the yard, and that he was following me from downtown. But no one paid any attention to it. Maybe they mistook him for a random passerby. A while later, this guy in black came into the house. I saw him walk down the hallway. That night, around 3 or 4 o'clock, my brother, who later committed suicide, came out of the house. My sister looked out the window several times, worrying where he was going at such a late hour, and then went to bed. At 7 in the morning, our neighbors, who rented a backyard cabin from us, discovered his dead body. That is our story. I still don't know who the guy in black was, why no one but my older brother saw him, and why it was my other brother who committed suicide and not the one he was following. This unsolved nightmare still looms in my mind. After my older brother's words, my sister began to blame him for bringing this stranger into our home.